Hello, and welcome to MemeWave. We had some technical issues, but we seem to be back. I'm just going to check. I think that we are good to go. Maybe let me just check that within the comment section. Hopefully you can hear me absolutely fine. I think that you can. Yes, we are back. So we're back in business. I'm going to get our guests up. I can see Pappy, I can see Patrick, Ahad, and Fred. Now we're going to get everybody to do introductions again. Fingers crossed you can all hear us when everybody joins the stage. Let's start with Pappy. Over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
GM, everybody. Glad to be here and be heard. Let's go. My name is Pappy or Cole, whichever one you prefer. I'm the CMO at Multichain Advisors, or MCA for short. We're a growth and go-to-market advisory consultancy firm, and we've worked on some of the biggest launches in the past couple of years, like Pith Network and Wormhole. And I also run Monkey Ventures, which is the investment syndicate for people who own Solana Monkey Business NFTs. And I'm in the trenches every day trading, baby. So let's go. Glad to be here with the rest of the guys.
It's so nice to have you with us. I mean, we'll get talking about your name a little bit later on, but I'm so happy to have you with us today, sharing the information and alpha that you're going to provide us. Patrick, over to you, buddy.
Hey, Jamie, thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited to be part of this. I think it's a very cool initiative, and I'm also happy to meet, all these other guys, Popular, Fred, Ahad, and to hear what you guys are building and what you guys think about memes. I'm the marketing comms lead of Go Plus Security, and we have like a whole range of products to protect users, to enhance Web3 user security for people who engage with any kind of DApp or who want to check the authenticity of any kind of smart contract data. Yeah, man. Thanks again to be here.
Yeah, cannot wait to hear more about Go Plus and learn more about yourself as well, Patrick. That's awesome. Fred, a warm welcome to today's stream. Thank you for joining us. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, guys. Really happy to see you guys here. And I'm Fred. I'm the founder of NextMe.ai, and we are a platform where Memecoins made decentralized prediction markets and combining fun, engagement, and profit opportunities in a single ecosystem. And actually, now we have 5 highlights. The first one is we are AI-powered markets that let our users to bet on crypto, global trends, and more. And besides that, users can use Memecoins to wager, win, and feel gamified experience. And we also let users interact with AI meme agents, bringing your favorite memes to life. So now we are already trusted by 3 million users and over 50 global partners. Yeah, thank you guys. Really happy to be here.
That's awesome. And we're so happy to have you here with us as well, Fred. So welcome. Ahad, I can see you. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. A warm welcome to you, buddy. Why don't you introduce yourself and who you're here with today?
Yeah, you got it right. So Ahad here. I'm the founder at MemeWave. We are an AI agent platform with like 5 million plus users. We are like launching our own AI launchpad this week, which is going to be the most advanced ones, like in Web3. So you can like tokenize your agents, trade them, etc. We're sort of like building the future of entertainment and attention with AI agents. We have one of our agents out, which is called Mo. The idea behind that is to like build an internet celebrity. And we're also behind like a couple of, I would say, like hot and famous AI agent projects, which we're doing it in like collaboration with like other teams. So we're sort of like a launch pad, building like the best AI agents and best AI attention machines.
That's awesome. Cannot wait to hear your insights throughout today's session. Thank you very much for joining us. Now you have met all the guests. Because we had to reset, let me just break down exactly what MemeWave is. Now, MemeWave is our opportunity here at Bitget Wallet to basically share all things meme, bring you the latest news, latest alpha, and of course the hottest and best projects and trends out there on the market to give you some free education. Now, hopefully you are making the most of this resource. The best thing and the best advice I can give you is follow us, follow all of our people that appear on our spaces, and of course, go away and then do your own research from the back of it. I'm going to pull Patrick back up and get stuck in straight to the first question again. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to where we ended the last stream. I'd love to know again, sorry to get you guys to recap, but how have AI memes impacted the market dynamics of meme coins recently? Perhaps you can give me some examples of successful narratives that actually resonate within and towards you. I'm going to start differently here. Let's start with Fred, please. Yes, I love it. It's like COVID times when people forget to unmute themselves. Thank you, Fred. That's the first one. No, that's
Yeah,
good. That's
I
good. We
mean,
like to see that. Good start. Over
yeah.
to you, buddy.
Yeah, actually, I think AI memes, AI agent and memes is very exciting narrative, and I think it represents a very novel concept. It's a new concept that quickly captured everyone's attention. And I want to use 3 examples to tell the story, share my insights. The first one I think is gold. I think it's the first one that's just grab everyone's attention, and it's launched by Choose Terminal, and everyone can interact with Terminal on Twitter, and you can ask questions. It's like a AI. Some people think, oh, maybe there's some ChatGPT or other stuff behind Twitter, and it's very interesting when it just come out. And the second thing I remember is very interesting. I think is Luna launched by Virtual Protocol, and it serves like a AI VTuber, and it can just live stream on YouTube every day, just like us. So we just started live stream for one time, but they can do that every day, and because they're AI, they have lots of time. And besides that, I also want to share cases that Soundart, and Soundart is also AI-related memes, and we collaborate with Soundart in a very early stage, and users can chat with the AI Soundart, and it also can play with that, and you can pat the butt of the corgi of the Soundart. I think it's very interesting and very exciting narrative, and it's add more narrative and more fun to the whole meme ecosystem, because as usual, before this memes agent comes out, everyone just talk with the animal style, right? The animals, the dog, the frog, the cats type of the inquiry. So I think it's a new thing. Yeah, it's a very exciting and new narrative. That's my opinion. Thanks.
No, thank you so much for those wonderful insights. I mean, it really pricks my ears when you hear of different ways users are getting a different experience of even potentially customer service via the use of AI. I'd love to pass it over to Patrick and get your insights, please.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. So obviously, you guys heard it already, and I'm going to say it again. I think what fuels us all is curiosity, right? We like to be in the space. It's very new. You have to be a little bit, you're not risk averse if you're in the space, because, the first time you got a job, your parents probably said, hey, are you sure you want to do that? It's all a scam, and you're all going to, suffer horribly. But, you stuck around, you worked, you had your side hustle, you invest, you trade. And then there's these new trends. There's trends from like altcoins in 2017 to DeFi summer, to then meme coins, which is most likely going to happen now. Now there's AI, and then for me, like AI agents is like a new super interesting concept. I mean, I'm just observing at the moment. I'm not taking part in it, but it's very interesting to see how technology goes in like this parabolic. The growth isn't linear. It just goes all in, and it goes very hard, right? So when Goat, which is the goat of the AI agents, came out, then it just went very hard, very quick, and then people realized, oh my god, this has immense potential. And then you got these things like Cerebro, which has the ability, I think, to create video and art as well. Can do partnerships. So yeah, I think it's a super interesting trend. I don't know how sustainable it is, right? Because like with anything, even for us all, we use ChatGPT, and you get these things called AI hallucinations. That's just getting wrong input or wrong output from like a question, and if you don't check it, it's the AI trying to make something which doesn't exist. So with all the opportunity, I think there's also a lot of don't want to be pessimistic, but a lot of opportunity for failure, whether it's in the smart contract or in the tokenomics, or if people find a back end. Yeah, overall it's super exciting though.
I mean, it's really interesting that you highlight some of the opportunities for real progress, but also failure. Maybe we'll dig a little bit deeper within that in today's session. Pappy, I would love to get your insights into this too, please.
Yeah, I think sort of piggybacking on what Patrick said, every cycle has one or two narratives that really pick up steam and bring in new entrants, right? I know, as someone who is really active at the IRL event circuit, during a bear market, the events are not as exciting, and there's kind of fewer and fewer people showing up. And the same is true on chain. right? Like number go up is really the best onboarding tool that there is. And so when people have a culmination of number go up and it's exciting new tech on a frontier that they've heard about for a little while now, and they don't really have any other way to get exposure to it, it's a really exciting sort of storm that's built. So for me, seeing people who were onboarded from Silicon Valley and some of these larger traditional sort of finance areas and backgrounds saying, wow, what is happening with GOAT is really intriguing to me, is one, hilarious, because I was always fearful that the first version of AI would look more like Ultron from the Avengers and would say, we got to get rid of these degenerates. But instead we found out the Truth Terminal is actually just one of us, which is great. And that sort of advancement in the tech was still intriguing to these people and to people like my parents and cousins who have maybe traditionally not been attracted to meme coins. So I think that the combination of these things is both hilarious and also presents a really unique opportunity that is not like other areas previously.
I mean, it's super interesting. Yesterday we had Ray from Memeland, who's the co-founder or the founder of Memeland, and some of the comments that he made around why individuals and users would traditionally go towards meme coins. A lot of the points that you just kind of touched on there, they're exactly what he said in terms of why users may then go and check out some of the technologies we're here discussing today. I mean, I would really love to get your insights on the first question, please.
Yeah, so just building upon what others mentioned, I do think that it's the narrative of the cycle, but I do think that there's a larger thing at play. I mean, see, meme coins are basically attention machines, right? And if you think about it, is that like meme coins are like static attention machines, whereas if you think about like AI agents, they're sort of like evolving dynamic attention machines, right? They can so I do think that like I mean every cycle at the end of the day it's crypto, we make a bubble of bubbles, right? So but I do think that like what one thing which is very interesting happening is that I do think that this is the future of entertainment in general. And we see some form of like IP being built, right? Like if you think about all of these AI agents right now, even though some are disguised as some sort of utility like AI XBT and all, right? Like, but at the end of the day, they're all attention machines, right? Like people log into their Twitter, and they see that, and they engage with it. For me, the most interesting bit is that I've been working on this thing for like the past 3-4 years, right? Like, I mean, if you guys know about AI16Z, Shaw used to be, like we are friends. We used to work on this together. But for me, the most interesting thing is that like if you think about like AI, um, the most common user interface was one-on-one, right? Like we were talking to it through a chat bot, whether it's speech to speech or whether it's text to text, right? All of a sudden now we have a new user experience which is one to many, which is like you have a Twitter bot with like many people are engaging with it in front, right? So all of a sudden it's almost like an audience slash like a concert kind of a setting, right? So for me this is like definitely like performance mimetics which is emerging, and like people are engaging with it. So I'm like very very like bullish on this sector. I think this is going to be, and especially the cycle. I think this cycle is going to be like extremely bullish, probably the wildest we have ever had. And I think the sector is going to be like literally like gorillions is the target. So that's what I feel about it. And the other thing is that like I think we're still seeing like early primitives, like you mentioned, Patrick, right? Like Cerebro and all, who are making like their, who's known for like one thing which is like making videos, or like one is known for like having like songs, audio. So what we are trying to do with Mo, in fact what we are doing with Mo is like building a general holistic IP, right? Like for example, Mo has her own like music label, it will have her own anime label, like the goal is to have her own Netflix show, right? So I do think that like these things are definitely like an evolution of things which had always been happening in the space. Like, for example, we had NFTs, and from NFTs we went to meme coins. And I think from meme coins is a natural transition to these like AI based IP, which is just going to be like more um, dynamic, more evolving, and just more entertaining in general. And also, right, these are all just like great onboarding machines, right? I mean, as I like always like to say is that like, The best meme coin is Bitcoin. And at the end of the day, every cycle has its best meme coin, right? So we are getting some of those.
I mean, you've got some wonderful insights there. And I think everybody there touched at some point around community-driven hype or community action. Now, how do you actually differentiate? God, I need to put my teeth in today. Between tokens or projects or concepts that are actually overinflated via AI and generated hype. Now, what I mean by this is, we're talking about meme coins in its finest form. These are the types of things my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother has probably looked at and seen and shared with friends or put on Facebook at some point. And all of a sudden, these have become financial giants that people are investing thousands and thousands of dollars into and frankly, be feeling a part of a wider concept. But how does AI mechanisms drive this forward? Like, is there a real attachment? I'd love to get your ideas on it. What drives the value? What drives the future aspects of the AI aspect into meme coins? And how do you get my grandmother, who's 80 odd, believing in the technologies around meme coins that feature AI technology? I'd love to hear from Pappy to start off with this.
Can you run that last part by me one more time? I think I timed out for a second.
No problem. So obviously I'm bringing to the front meme coins. 80-year-old women are clearly sharing memes or trends or funny topics on social media, right? Now we're talking about AI within meme coins and how it's being best used. Now, how do we get the conversion of that 80-year-old person on Facebook who's sharing these memes that wants to feel part of a community that maybe has gotten interested within the crypto space? And how do we best demonstrate the use case of AI? Now, the example really is, how does the community generate hype? What is it that people come to AI within meme coins and actually think, this is for me?
Yeah, I think it's actually, as a marketing person, I think it's just a question of marketing and framing things, right? So I think a lot of people would resonate with their older family members, their more traditionalist family members, still being really active online, right? Who was powering the ecosystem, as an example, of Farmville for years? It wasn't me, right? It was people significantly older than myself. And so if they're online, if they're already participating in these sort of like quasi-digital economies, what's the gap? And so the gap has largely just been a branding issue, right? What a lot of these people know is very surface level about the industry as a whole, without even getting into memes. They see in the past that people have been exchanging funds for various illicit activities, which are like a super, super, super minority of things that are happening, but that's what's been showcased in the news. They're seeing JPEGs of monkeys sell for millions of dollars, and their gut feeling is just, this has to be a scam. There's something that's got to be wrong here. And then they see Fartcoin ripping to 500 million, and they say, I don't get it. And yet they'll participate in these other various digital economies, and they don't think otherwise about it. And so it's just a matter of communication. And I think subjectively, probably, it's just a matter of finding the one narrative that lines up with them. And I think that AI is going to allow for proliferation of ideas much more quickly to understand what are the sort of syncs that are created that people resonate with. And so for me, I don't know if that's, the next AI generated memes around things that were popular in the 1950s or whatever that might look like. But I think we're at a point now where we can hit scale as a result of these new efficiencies that have been brought about by AI. And there is more mainstream adoption that's making it a little bit less crazy and out there. And it's something that slowly but surely people will probably sort of come around to. It's very similar to me to like the gaming space, right? A lot of traditional gamers have been very averse to Web3 gaming because they play for the love of the game. They don't play for the speculation. And it's, again, just trying to get through this idea that it's not speculation, it's ownership. It's a different take on what you're doing, that you don't have to speculate. You can if you choose. But ultimately, it's just an improvement on your current experience. I think it's the same thing, right? If you're giving attention to these things online, it doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from geographically. If it's fun for you to partake in sort of this digital world that we all operate in now, then you might as well have a little fun, participating in an on-chain community and maybe speculating a little bit.
I mean, speculation is the key word. I think that you've propped up several times in a lot of you were discussing there. Patrick, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I still don't get it. Break it down for me. We know meme coins are the gateway for the majority of people into the space, but how exactly can AI lead the way with it? Break it down for me.
I don't know. I don't think it can. I think the power of meme coins is that they're community driven, right? So I wanted to tap into what Papichulo was saying about, number going up being a good metric for growth and sparking curiosity. My grandfather, one of my grandfathers, was very interested in tech. So until he was very old, he was, into tech and trying new technologies. Generally, I think the older you get, the more tapped out you get, right? AI agents is like, I'm not sure what comes after AI agents, but I might tap out. But until then, I can still fathom what's going on. It reminds me a little bit of this AI granny bot that O2 created. They made a campaign of it, right, to get rid of scammers, because besides the fact that AI will be leveraged to do deepfake scams, it's already happening also in crypto space. People target other, certain groups who are not very savvy when it comes to tech. They're more gullible. So another thing that Poppy touched on was, feels weird calling you Poppy, but I have no choice at the moment. But another thing that you touched upon was, AI agents that go back to a certain specific area. So there must be some concept of fluidity, right? And maybe Ahad knows that better than I do. Fluidity when it comes to AI and AI agents. And there's all this talk in the space about, what is utility, and everyone's trying to get utility for multiple reasons, for existence reasons, but also for legal reasons, and to prove the value of their project. But what if you had like this tokenized version of an agent that helped, an elderly population to not get scammed, and then they could buy that token, as a means of subscription, and then it's not just an O2 campaign, but it's something that you're actively using. You just say, hey, could you, you call it the granny bot. Granny bot, could you check my, could you take this call for me, right? It's just a random thought that I'm having, but that's the only way that we're going to get on board. In the meantime, since 2008 Bitcoin inception, I don't think we've come far enough when it comes to user friendliness and UX UI. So it's still a daunting task to download wallets, daunting task to claim airdrops. So we have a lot of improvement before grannies start using AI. I think maybe we should just focus on making the space overall.
Ooh, technical issue, but I think we just got the end of his point there before he wrapped up. I think somebody's obviously calling him on his Teams or something like that, because it cuts off when that happens. I think it's a really interesting point. Sorry, Patrick.
Sorry, just like, I'm not sure what's happening. I just keep getting kicked out for no apparent reason. Apologize for this, guys, but I'll just keep on coming back in.
No worries. We'll keep pulling you up. I think for me, I like to go a little bit dramatic and talk about the granny example, because it's how it becomes relative, right? We know that meme coins are the gateway for a lot of people into the space, but it's how do they get that extra bit of value? How is the utility then used or developed around the community's needs? And I think Morph, we heard about the example yesterday. They have a founder called Celia. They created an AI token, a project, a concept of her identity that users can then go and request information on the Morph network, the Morph chain, the Morph token, and ask it questions and get real-time feedback. Now, this is a really unique way of using AI technology, creating a meme coin, and of course, servicing the needs of a community. It's a great concept, which I actually really can see the value in. Ahad, I'd love to get your thoughts on exactly what we've just been discussing, really, because I could tell that you've got something to chuck in here.
So the first thing is that I like to think about is that, like, we are at the phase in which, let's talk entertainment and media, right? I think decentralized Hollywood is a real possibility. I'm just gonna, like, drop some links of, like, what we have been cooking. So you can have, like, 24-hour, like, live shows. This is what we have showed, like, with AI. So you can, like, really build these kind of IPs. And I think the idea of these AI agent based meme coins is that, like, if you go a level ahead, right now we're just seeing like single player AI agents. If you think about, like, multiplayer and like those kind of things, and basically it's a way for like community to, like, form things around certain IP. So I mean, I'm just sharing, like, this like music video which we built with which, like, our AI agent just posted, right? Like, I mean, in my view, this is like high quality stuff which is like literally made by us in house in a day, right? And this kind of stuff, I mean, you couldn't do it like a year ago or 2 years ago, right? So this kind of stuff is like really possible with AI. And at the end of the day, I think the token associated is just a way of like attention grabbing, or like, just like a measure of the attention. So now this is where it's conjecture, it's hypothesis, but like the simple question I ask is that, like, what if you could own a celebrity? I think those things are possible now, right? Like you could have a celebrity AI agent, right? And basically the community owns it, right? Like, I mean, if for example our AI agent signs up a Netflix show and it becomes like super popular, like the token associated with it, just like extremely valuable. Now to your question of like, how do we onboard the grannies? Maybe we don't need to, right? I think what happens at every stage is that, like, sort of the adoption curve keeps on increasing. I mean, Granny is literally like the extreme version of this, the example which you're saying, right? And like, for example, a lot of like even the digital tech, which is quite prevalent, like grannies, some grannies might not even be using it, right? Like, do all grannies use like, like WeTransfer or like, WePay or like, Apple Pay, etc.? Probably not, right? Do all grannies use like credit cards? Probably not, right? But I think what is happening is that, like, the the sam, like, the addressable market is increasing. Now it's not just people like, for example, 2018, 19, those were people who were interested in like, really finance based applications. That's why, we had DeFi, and people coming in and they were like, oh, you can have like, on chain yield and everything, right? Then we saw what happened with NFTs, and we brought in a lot of people who were interested in like art and culture, right? I think what's happening with AI agents now is that it's just becoming more mass market. Like if you look at these AI agents, some of them have like 100,000, 200,000 followers. And I would assume that like out of these 200,000 followers, like at least 20-30% are non-crypto people as well, right? So some of them could be like Silicon Valley natives. Some of them could just be like, AI enthusiastic. Some of them could just be like, people who are just like, see it across on the news. They might not even buy the token, but they're like, okay, let me follow this and see what happens, right? And then they'll be like, oh, I've been following this since it was like 8 million and now it's 80 million. It's going to go to 800 million now, right? So like these onboarding things happen. And I think that's the way it happens, right? Like, and I think simultaneously, one more interesting thing is happening this cycle, which I think a lot of people are not openly talking about. And I mean, I'm sure you guys sort of like probably are at the center front of it as well as Bitget Wallet. A lot of the world is moving on chain, like they're directly coming on chain, like if you look at Solana with Memecoins, even Base, like there are people who are like literally like leapfrogging that exchange thing and directly coming on chain, right? Like through Photon, like through Moonshot, right? Like so I think like a lot of onboarding of on chain is also happening this cycle. And the one thing which is like, other than the meme coin and everything, is the unit bias, which is that like Bitcoin is $100,000, right? Like people look at these like new tokens which are being created, right? Which has a new interesting narrative, which definitely has more engaging because it's an AI agent which is like literally coming up with endless, infinite content, and some of them are going to be bangers. So people look at that and people are like, okay, this I can afford, right? Like one Bitcoin might be like too far away from me, but this is magic internet money which I can afford, right? And when people just like buy into that, I mean, it's just that the honest truth that the best onboarding is price go up, right? Like people see this price go up, and like that's when you believe in the power of magic internet money. Because the thing is that like money is such an abstract concept in our in the world overall, that a lot of people don't understand that. Like for example, whenever I'm having a conversation with like a non-crypto person, right? And they tell me like, oh, why Bitcoin is value, and I just ask them, why does dollar have value, right? Like they don't even have answer to that, right? Like so it's like those abstract concepts people like to debate about, but when they actually make money, then everybody forgets the debate, right? Like, for example, like people are like, oh, we don't understand cryptocurrency. Yeah, but do you understand how the fiat system works? No, nobody does, right? Like, so the thing is that, like, all of these like hindrances is just like, a mix of, just to summarize, right? I think that like AI agents just open up to a bigger audience segment, maybe not the grannies, but definitely people who are like on the sidelines and they're like, okay, this is interesting. Then a couple of other interesting things are happening, right? Like, people have now direct access via on chain, and like, yeah. So I just think that, like, all of these things definitely means that there are more people coming to crypto, and AI agents are going to be a tool and primitive of bringing them in, because at the end of the day, see, like, that's why we have always positioned ourselves is that, like, yes, you can build like, productivity utility based agents, but I think they're still like a few years away. But what you can definitely do right now is the future of entertainment, right? And that's what sort of is happening as what we see as well.
No, really wonderful insights. Thank you very much for sharing that, Ahad. I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well, please, Fred, before we move on to the next question.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Got you.
Yeah, actually, I think this question is hard to tell, because actually it's hard for you to for everyone to tell whether it's a real AI agent just show everything, or is some guys behind the AI agent, right? I think it's hard to tell, and yeah, so it's a tricky stuff. And actually, I also want to discuss about my opinion about share my opinion about gold, because this June. The story begins in this June, and the Choose Terminal launched on June. I remember it's June 17, and it's gaining initial fame thanks to the 50,000 Bitcoin donation from the Mark Anderson. He's the co-founder of Anderson Horowitz, right? And actually, some people said that, oh, it's very new, it's very interesting stuff. But in my opinion, I think the donation, the support from the Mark Anderson is also very important. It's like they're the first several AI memes. They all supported by some venture capital, some people or some resources, and so it's really hard to tell that AI agent is a truly AI agent, or is some community behind that, or some ventures behind that. So I think in this way, it's more like a narrative game. So this is I'm thinking about how to jump out from this narrative way, but to do more interesting or more innovative stuff that's really combine this AI agent or AI stuff with memecoins. I think that's a very interesting to talk about it. And now what we try these days is to combine the AI analysis with the prediction market, and to show the index of the meme coins up and down, something like that. So it's our first try. So we hope that can make some sense for the users for and in this field. Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah, thanks.
No, I think it's great. And the beautiful thing about this panel is it's leaving me with questions in my mind. So I urge anybody that is listening to this, if something does trigger your mind, or something, maybe the way that you're thinking around meme coins or AI tokens, go and do the research. This is exactly why we create these panels, to trigger thought processes in your brains and to go and further research different aspects of the space. It's how we become more informed and hopefully become better traders in the long run. Now, I'm going to come on to something that Pappy actually mentioned earlier. Now, is AI, and by the way, I'm going to go straight into the teeth of this, and I'm very direct with this question. I'm going to come straight to Pappy. Is AI good or bad, and why?
I don't think AI is either good or bad. It's kind of like any tool that you utilize, right? It's like it could be good or bad based on who's doing what with it. And to me, probably in the long term, in general, yes, it's great. I don't think, for the most part, there's been any technological innovation in the past, 100, 200 years that people were like, oh man, maybe we shouldn't have made that one. Maybe AI is the tipping point, right? We've seen a lot of science fiction that says, okay, this is the beginning of the end. But so far, I just don't think that that's probably the case. I think that if you look at what people are doing with it already, and again, this to me is one of those things like in Web 2, I would have mentors that would say, it's really positive of you to be mindful of what you don't know, right? Like admit the things you don't know. And if you have visibility into what you don't know, okay, well, that's like a knowledge gap that at some point you can hopefully fill. I don't even know what I don't know with AI yet. And I think most people are in that same predicament where we see these like emerging use cases for it, but on a very long-term time horizon, what's possible hasn't even been ideated yet. And so for me, I think that the upside of that is huge. And just some of the early use cases, there's projects that are building agents that are able to like connect into your various wearable devices, and they can monitor your health and give you like very specialized feedback as to what you could be doing to improve yourself, or saying, hey, these things that are happening, these markers are respective to your like stress levels. We think that it's a little high. You should be doing this, that, the other. As one example, right? There's a ton of stuff happening. So I think it's good. I think people will probably use it for bad, just like they use everything for bad. You know, hammers are for nails, but sometimes they get used for other shit. So I guess that would be my general answer.
I'm not going to research what that other stuff is, but yeah, I think you bring a really good point there that, you know, it depends on the hands of which it's in. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Patrick. You know, are AI projects, tokens, concepts good or bad? And maybe you can give me some examples of both, if that's good.
Sure. So yeah, it's good, right? We're, like I said at the beginning, we're all in this space because we're naturally curious. And if you look historically, all kinds of technologies have been good for multiple reasons, whether it was no longer using a horse, using a car, you know, using computers for healthcare. You know, on the long term, there's ROI. There's naturally resistance to it because people are scared and they haven't researched it yet. So I think, like Papi said, you need to be a bit biased towards wanting to know and not assume that it's negative. It's good. It's going to be progress. AI might be the adoption that everyone is selling that they can sell, right? Whether it's a layer one saying we're going to onboard the next billion users, or a centralized exchange, or modular from Celestia. That's what they all aim to do: onboard the next billion users. Maybe AI is going to be it. Because we are in the security niche, though, we also see how AI is leveraged by bad actors, you know, with hammers which aren't being used for nails. So imagine that AI is also going to be used in ways that you can't even fathom yet. If you compare 2017 AI generated videos to, for scams on YouTube, there's like been a huge advancement. Now you got like Vitalik talking with Michael Saylor, and they're talking about, you should just send over the tokens and it's going to be a great product. Yeah, and people are easily fooled by that. So, I also know of founders who have confided in me about having deep fake attacks. One person of the team of C-suite, and then like 5 malicious actors. And I think AI will be also very huge, for an uptick in malicious activity because the incentives are so high. So yeah, it's like he said, I don't think it's good or bad. I think it is good and it is bad at the same time. We just need to, be cautious, but we definitely need to explore.
And I think we see around the world, the regulations coming in around the use of AI, right? And how that is obviously going to implement or impact the way in which, we all have access to certain AI products and facilities moving forward. I think it's really important to probably note that at this time. Fred, I'd love to get your feedback on this too, please, buddy.
Yeah, and for my opinion, actually, I think everything just had good sides and bad sides. But for me, I think AI it's good for us because all of us do this kind of stuff and related to our project, right? I think easy answer for us. And I believe AI will bring significant opportunities for us because I think in this cycle or even in the future cycle, I believe that mass adoption is a very important thing for all of our Web3 users and Web3 projects. And now we are currently developing a decentralized AI-driven prediction market because we want to involve more analysis to help users to know the future and to analyze the performance about the real worlds and about the meme coins and about different tokens. So when users participate in prediction on our platform, they can see the probabilities and analyzed by AI. And I think it's will help them to make better choices, and not only by the voting side, but also it's very helpful for their buy and sell and decision. I think this is very beneficial for users' decision making and in this way. So I think for me, for our projects, I think AI is a very good. It's a very good stuff. Yeah, I think for both of us, for all of us, right?
So it's safe to say that Fred is bullish on AI. I mean, Ahad, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, really, because, you know, we talk about AI agents, we talk about the freedom of information, the amount of time now needed. I think about it in its purest form with ChatGPT. You've now got access to some of the world's best resources in a matter of seconds, right? And from a lazy person's perspective, and I'm going to put myself in that bracket when it comes to some research, like I can go and get hours and hours, if not days of research in literally 30 seconds. We know there's great use cases when it comes to AI technologies. Do they need to be tokenized? And maybe what are some of the risks around it?
Okay, so I think there are two separate things being discussed, right? Like I think one is the impact of AI overall, and the second of building Ponzi's on AI, right? So I'm going to address both. So on the first aspect of the impact of AI, I think it's the most powerful and revolutionary technology ever. And I think that like as humans, as a society, we are not ready for it. I mean, if you think about it as an individual, I mean, if you just think about like, for example, image generation, right? Like Dolly, Stable Diffusion, and everything else, Midjourney. Literally, like every human being now is an artist. You don't need that skill anymore, right? Like, I mean, of course, I'm exaggerating a bit by saying everyone, but you know, like that the skill level has really come down, and it's now being applied on like all disciplines. So if you think about it, like we solved this thing with like calculators related to our mathematic capabilities, and all of a sudden in just 1 year we have calculators for writing, we have calculators for drawing, we have calculators for animation, we have calculators for songs, like everything, right? So it's just like we as society, we're just not ready for like what comes in this world of abundance. I think our economic systems are not ready for it. You know, now overall, I'm a techno optimist, and I do think that like, you know, technology generally, you know, results in better human condition. But I do think that like, you know, we have to tread a bit carefully uh, around the socio-economic aspects of it, right? Because as I said, that like as human civilization, we're just not ready for it. You know, like we're just not ready for this world of abundance which comes, right? In many in my thought, we might even be like moving towards really like a post-abundant world, right? And I mean, since I'm very much involved in this space, I can tell you guys, as everybody, as a matter of fact, that like we might underestimate this technology and what it can do in the next 6 months. So we might overestimate what it can do in the next 6 months, but we are underestimating what it can do in 5 years, right? Like because like 5 years or 10 years from now, it's going to be a completely different world, right? So that's my view on AI overall. Now let's talking about like the tokenization aspect and everything. See, there's one aspect of like tokenization from like a pure technology perspective, but there's also another aspect of crypto, which is that I really see crypto as alternate markets, right? Like the idea about crypto is that like, you know, this is where like it's global alternate markets, where, you know, people can come and they can speculate on things, right? So from that perspective, how I see AI is that since it's such a revolutionary technology and the surface area is so big, which means that it impacts so many things. It impacts entertainment, it impacts productivity, it impacts utility, right? which means that we will definitely come up with like ways of creating speculation out of this overall technology as a whole in very different shape and form, right? Like, so for example, for AI agents, I had this simple narrative, like simple hypothesis, even like 2 years ago when I used to tell to people, and nobody seemed to like, get it at that time, which was very simple, is that like, in my view, AI agents are a new form of media primitive, which means that like people would want to like, own them, trade them, collect them, speculate on them, right? And that's literally what's sort of happening right now. Yeah, and like, I mean, I think the last bit is more around like, the intersection of, I would say, AI and crypto in general. So on that note, I do think that like, for example, AI agents and everything, they are going to be using crypto rails because, that's just like natural habitat for them, right? Like, I mean, are they going to be transacting in cash? No. Are they going to be using even like, Citibank? No, right? So like AI agents, like, working on crypto rails, that's just like an obvious thing, right? So I do think that like it's the convergence of a lot of technologies which is going to be happening. AI is definitely like sort of like at the center of it, but like blockchain, even like new forms of computing, like, augmented reality and all of that. And then, with probably like, robots and all, I think all of that is going to come in together, and like the vectors are aligning, and all of that is coming together for like a very science fiction like future, in like near future, in the next 5 years.
It's really interesting the detail in which you go into the various sectors of the use cases for AI, in my opinion. I think something that we've perhaps overlooked at this point is how it's benefiting users within their trading journeys. Now, I can see, Fred, you've had a change of scenery, change of background there. I would love to hear how you are, or your thoughts around how we're using AI to actually benefit the way in which we actually access the crypto space, whether that be via trading or research.
Yeah, just forgot to unmute. I think for trading, I think it's a good question for us, because I used to be a private investor, and also also the secondary investor before. I think the best way, actually, if you just consider about using the AI tools, I think the best way is to join a quantitative fund. Yeah, it's the best way, and it's the best place to use the AI model to trade and to get benefits. But additionally, I think if you want to use some AI tools, I think it can divide it into different parts. The first part is like that. If you are a technical guy, and you can just build your own AI models, and to find the track the smart money, and to do something about that to get the alpha. Yeah, I think that's the first way you can get some training, and get some tokens, get lots of benefits. And the second thing I think is that users can use some AI analysis tools and platform to find some ways to get that. And actually, because we know that everyone want to make money from the trading side, so we also try to integrate the AI analysis function into our Nextme.ai prediction markets side. So if users want to use some tools and to relate it to trade, also can try in our future in the future. Yeah, we will launch that next week. And besides that, I know that there are several platforms that also combine this AI function and analysis with their platform, like DAX Screener, Fountain, something like that, and also can have a try. Yeah, that's the answer of this question. Yeah.
I can see, Pappy, I'd love to get your feedback on this as well, please, buddy.
Yeah, just think that the opportunities for trading specifically, especially for your average person, right? What we have relied on in the past is exactly what Fred is talking about, like your network of people, because none of us has enough time and eyeballs to see everything that's happening all the time. AI is such an incredible extension of that sort of traditional approach to things that it allows you to become a superhuman consumer of information that is distilled down to like very bite-sized pieces. And it can even go a step further, and to Ahad's point earlier, operate on your behalf. There's one project I'm excited about. I don't know if you guys have followed much with DAOs.fun. They are like a launch pad for like seemingly specifically and specialized AI, DAO, and tech opportunities. It's where AI16Z initially launched. There's another one that's there now. It's the second one, second best performing one, called Project X, and it's founded by some like longtime Solana guys. And the functionality they're building is the opportunity to create your sort of own specialized, trained, and prioritized agent that can actually autonomously trade on your behalf. So you would be able to train it on your thesis, sort of pick your risk tolerance from like very degen to paper-handed. And I know that they're not the only ones working on this. There's several people that are kind of doing these things. And so for me, that's great, because I've always had a portion of my portfolio that's dedicated towards some of these, I guess, really, really high risk tolerance trades, you know, because the trenches are fun primarily. And there's also some good gains to find there, right? But if I can take a small portion and sort of plug my brain, for better or worse, of course, into an AI and say, hey, you know what I am interested in, you know what I'm trying to chase, you know my level of risk tolerance, go out there and find the best opportunities for me, and here's 20 SOL to play with. That's a really, really exciting opportunity. And maybe, you know, for the first 6 months, again, to Ahad's point, it doesn't really work that well and I get wrecked a lot. But then maybe, you know, 4 or 5 years from now, there's really, really well figured out algorithms and processes that have been built that provide a lot of success to people. And maybe it just becomes a little more difficult to access the ones that have a proven track record, right? So I think it's great, man. Like, there's so much happening. It's so hard to keep up even in one ecosystem, let alone all of them. And they get more diverse every day with every new L2 and alt L1, that you can never be expected to keep up with anything, with everything. You kind of have to have your lane that you stick to and try to be an expert in that, and then rely on your network. So this is, I think, just a nice digital expansion of your network.
Absolutely. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Patrick, because I know this is something you're a little bit passionate on. I've been looking at your socials. I'd love to hear kind of your thought process around this, really, because when it comes to AI and we talk about research, we talk about trading abilities and the way in which communities integrate into it, like maybe you could talk about Go Plus and their strategy around that and their thought process of some of the matters that we're talking about here.
Sure, I'll tap into Go Plus, you know, towards the end of my answer. I'll take a bit more of a contrarian take. You know, some of my Web2 dev friends, right, who are also into crypto, they say that a lot of the Web3 devs, they surpassed, you know, they took a leap into Web3 without learning fundamental languages, right? You think, okay, so what? Who cares? The reason that like Web2 devs have this advantage that Web3 devs do not have is because it has to do with the approach of their thinking, of the infrastructure of what they're building. So they're going to miss things. It's not bad or good per se, but I would take the contrarian take and say you have enough time. Like Ahad said, you know, we're probably overestimating the next 6 months, even a year or 2 years. Like, there's plenty of time for you to be in the space. And for you as an individual, whether you want to start a career, become a trader, or do on the side, you have plenty of time to develop your thesis, but you're going to have to develop your thesis. And if you're going to ChatGPT your way, you know, with the equivalent of ChatGPT your way through your crypto career, you're going to overlook things, and it's good to make mistakes. You know, this is why my traditional career of being a writer gives me leverage over writers who very clearly, within 2 seconds, I can see are using ChatGPT because the content's not authentic, has an extra bit of a buzz to it. So I'd say use tools like Holderscan and you know, check out these AI agents. And if you understand what Nader, the bit of you know, is talking about when he's talking about launching an AI agent, you know, go for it. But I think generally, you know, take your time to develop your thesis. It might you know, might just be a 6 month to a year hype. And I think there's a lot to say for organic communities as well. So what Go Plus does is we kind of put to the test how true and how authentic these founders are of projects. It's generally known that people, groups, smaller groups, larger groups, snipe supplies, right? It's also known that they can manipulate contracts, and we then provide the raw data to show you, okay, this is a honeypot, which is your most basic form, or here the data that you're showing is not the data that's embedded into the contract. So we in that same sense, we leverage AI for good, and yeah, we're building it on the back end. It's just still a very manual process. I would say do your own research, go for due diligence, understand the basics, and don't bypass a million steps. Yeah, hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I think, bypassing a million steps is taking shortcuts, right? And there's no such thing as taking shortcuts when it comes to especially your own finances. Let's just make that super clear. And I think people should go all the way and always do their own research and not be reliant on things that simplify that process at all times. Actually dig a little deeper and make an informed decision. I mean, I'd love to get your thoughts on this before we get a few closing thoughts from everybody on here. Now, I know we've overrun by about 17 minutes or so. That was due to the technical issues that we had on the first stream. But before Ahad does answer, I just want to say massive thank you to you guys. You've given some wonderful insights on this session. And if you are listening, we've had 15,000 people tune in so far. Please do drop the guys a follow. Go and research them, their organizations on X. Check them out, research them, understand what they're trying to do, and actually maybe go and join their communities and get a feel for it, what it is and how it feels to be a member of their community as well. Ahad, over to you.
Yeah, Jamie, can you repeat the question? Because I know we discussed a couple of things during this round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's talk about like how users are really using AI to benefit themselves financially. We've spoken about like potential research use cases, connection use cases, customer services uses. Like, how is it going to hit my back pocket?
I mean, it's literally up to you at this point, right? Like, if you're talking about like from a pure, let's talk like the general world, and let's talk our little crypto bubble, right? Both things. I mean, like the real crypto bubble, as I was telling you, I'm close to like AI16Z, and I know that like people who went in, they literally make like life-changing money just by like putting like 5 SOL or 10 SOL into it, right? Similar other projects, right? Like, I mean, I just shared one today. It was a fair launch on DAOs.fun. I mean, the way it's going, it looks like it's gonna be like cross 100 million in like a few days, right? So I think it's like great bull market with the perfect AI narrative. So like I think on the crypto space, anybody who's like understanding, like I think the power of what the real project, like what does it need for a real project. At the end of the day, it's like a bit of tech, a bit of mimetic power, and a great community, right? I think that's the recipe of like success, of like finding these gems in the crypto space, right? So a lot of it is similar to like how you find like meme coins, right? So I think that's what's applicable in like the AI agent meme coin space, and how to find the next winner, in my view. The other thing is in general, like how AI is helping. Like literally, you can like, I mean, as an entrepreneur, I think that like I need like 70% less resources now. There are like so many things which we can like offload with like AI assisted help. Like it helps us in coding, it helps us in like in our marketing content, right? Like it's like full stack help, right? So I just think that like AI is just a great enabler, and I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I do think that like if we are able to structure society in the right way, it wouldn't be about it like how I put money in my back pocket, because we'll be moving into the world of abundance, right? Like what I'm trying to say here is that like if you think about air, and in many places in the world, not all, but in many places in the world, water as well, it's completely free, even though it is the most vital and valuable thing we need as human beings, right? Like both air and water. The reason they're free is because they're abundant, even though everybody needs it, right? So I think what AI is enabling is that like we just have to like get out of that scarcity mindset of basically, that this much is the pie and everybody's sharing the pie. No, what's happening is that the pie is just getting infinitely larger, right? So it's about like literally like, I know it's a bit of cliche and I'm not applying it to like the crypto space and we shouldn't be saying it because of like bull market and all. But it might be true that we all gonna make it, like, so I think that might just be happening with AI, right? Like, because it just creates like, because like if you think about all conflicts, everything, they just stem from scarcity, right? And not even just like actual scarcity, but also scarcity mindset. And I think AI just might be, I mean, that's just my hopeful techno optimistic view of the world. And I may be wrong, but as they say that pessimists may be right, but optimists change the world. So I think we have a really good uh, reason to be optimistic with AI. And I think as all humans can like just take that approach.
Absolutely love that, to be honest. I think the time has come to get some closing thoughts from everybody about the meme coin space, about the AI space. Pappy, let's start with you. Let's get your take from what you've heard today and also your outlook and some final comments.
Yeah, man, I think it's good to hear like the mix of, one, these are still memes, like they're fun. We're here to have a good time, but also there's real tech that's behind it. And I guess for like a pretty retail audience, right, that's probably tuning in, what I would say is you're in a really, really great opportunity where you're early, but also as a result of being early, like you really got to lock in and do your due diligence on stuff. It's so easy for people to create vaporware and run a token up to 1 million or 2 and then just rug the shit out of it by dumping 30% on you. So the easiest bet you can make is on good teams, right? If you can find a team that you support, that they've got a good product or meme that they're working on, and they've got a solid community around there, lock in on that, man. Like, this is not a joke. I, as an experienced person trading, got rugged on some AI vaporware, like at the beginnings of this a couple months ago, and the logo was literally a phallic symbol. You know what I mean? Like, in hindsight, it should have been like, I should have seen that coming. You know what I mean? Like, maybe literally if it got too excited. So, yeah, just do your due diligence, look at stuff, and find good teams, and know that you are early. And if you hit a couple L's occasionally, L's are lessons, and we always bounce back and just learn a little from them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that wonderful insight. I'd love to come to you, buddy. Let's get some closing thoughts, please.
I mean, I would just say that, like, stay curious, right? Like, I think the curious wins, right? At the end of the day, the curious. And, the one thing which I like about trading in general, and I think that applies whether you're trading meme coins, whether you're trading stocks, whether you're trading anything, that it's so much a game of personal development, right? Like it takes things like patience, it takes things like risk tolerance, it takes things like courage, it takes things like instincts, right? It takes things like having good people around you. It takes things like, so I would just say that, like, uh, play per your risk tolerance, stay curious, and good opportunities are going to come. That's the beauty of the bull market, right? Like, I mean, and also, like, my advice, which is like just to myself in general, and I keep telling everybody in my team as well, like, don't be greedy. Somebody will always be making more money than you, right? Like, but just like follow your own plan, and all, at the end, take profits. Like, that's pretty much it.
I love that. And obviously curiosity doesn't kill the cat. It helps you stay more informed, right? I think I like that a lot. It's a really nice way to end. Patrick, over to you, buddy. I'd love to get any final thoughts that you have or anything you'd like to share.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much, Jamie. Thanks again, man, for having us on. It's been very cool, and it's very, very cool. It's a cool panel. Like, I've had a few, and everyone has some really meaningful stuff to say, and I'm going to look into some new projects that I'll get lost in. I like that, that stay curious. Stay curious. There's so much opportunity in the space. And it may seem daunting, all these narratives about AI taking over and technology taking over our jobs, but there's still so much opportunity. All you need to do is be curious. That being said, from all the people here, don't take everyone with a grain of salt. Take me with a grain of salt. Take you with a grain of salt. Develop your own thesis. Understand markets are cyclical until they're not, right? There's going to be time in this market in the coming year where people are going to say it's different this time and it's going to be a super cycle. That's on the short term. Maybe the best advice is just get a job in crypto, because you get to be on Twitter all day, because that's all we do, right, guys? We're just on Twitter all day, and then we pretend that we're in these high level marketing positions. Get into the Web3 space and then slowly get to know it. It's an incredible opportunity. But yeah, also do your own research. Like, on the last note, not to make it a downer, but people don't take security OPSEC serious until they get exploited, and hundreds have. Like, it's a serious thing. It's a matter of time, unfortunately. So make sure that thing that you're working so hard for is locked down to the T. Thanks again for having me here, Jamie.
No, it's absolutely my pleasure. I think all of you guys have been tremendous today. So thank you very much. Fred, last but not least, no change of scenery for this question, but let's end on a high. Why don't you tell us? Maybe drop some alpha in there as well, please, Fred.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jamie. I think the most important thing I want to share is embracing meme coins. Yeah, embrace meme coins, especially in this cycle. I believe that meme coins are incredibly important for communities and the entire Web3 ecosystem, and that's why there's so many chains that very embrace the meme coins, like Solana, Sui, or Aptos, or Tron based, or all of them are very embrace the meme coins this cycle. I think this cycle is not the cycle led by venture capital, just as usual as that's past several cycles, and it's more about community. So let's join this new future. And I think if you own the meme coins for this project, for this chain, you will have the liquidity, you will have the users, you will involve more people, and you will stand out in this mass adoption way. So yeah, let's join this new future, join this new narrative. Yeah, that's what I want to share. Thanks. Thank you, guys.
No worries. And thank you so much. What a lovely way to end. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. Almost 18,000 live viewers. Thank you so much again for jumping on. Thank you to all the guests. It's been unbelievable. Go and check out their projects, their ecosystems, them as people. Super interesting, fascinating space. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you to you for tuning in. This has been MemeWave, your second live stream. Tune in tomorrow. Same time, we're going to be here. Thanks again.
Thanks for having us. It was great chatting with you all, you guys. Let's connect.
Let's do it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Cheers.
guys.